Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast to the protection against heavy rain and flooding by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe.
So the big challenge is, how can house owners like you and me get a flood-free home? How can business managers like you and me get a flood-free company? And how can public servants provide flood-free critical infrastructure and livable cities?
Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe. This podcast is for foresighted and proactive people who do not want to shovel the muddy water out of their room while standing in the midst of the disaster.
Therefore, those who design and plan, the architects and engineers, need to construct such buildings and cities, and that even when the entire environment is completely flooded. That is a challenge, and this podcast will give the answers.
Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood, Andreas Klippe.
Hello and welcome. In this Flood Protection Secrets episode, we dive into a story many can relate to: the worry that flood protection might be beyond our means. We've all heard the adage, the proverb, better safe than sorry. But when it comes to protecting our homes and loved ones, the price tag can seem daunting. How do we reconcile the need for safety with financial constraints? So let's talk again about Michael Thomson. Michael was already the hero of our episode, our last episode, when his boss approached him and said, Michael, we face problems. As you know, last year, our company was severely flooded. It took us 5 or 6 months just to open again. And I was afraid that we had to close the company and that everybody will lose the job. And but Michael then got the instruction recently, and he has to find a solution to protect the whole compound, the whole company, that never happens again. And like many homeowners, of course, he faced the flood crisis as well in his family. His company is one thing, but now he was a little bit more aware that technology is existing and on the market, and he was under pressure because his boss gave him the instruction. And at home, they also suffered from flooding because they were flooded 2 years ago in his area, and they lost a lot of things. The television was lost, the sofa was lost, the kitchen, it looked like a disaster. Even the drawers were opened, and you can imagine that the water penetrated all cabinets, and it was not only the water, it was the mud. And then what remained when the water was gone and you cleaned the muddy spaces and surfaces, that is the smell and the moist. And the moist is not only dark and dirty and ugly, but it is also dangerous for the lungs. You should not inhale moist like that. So since then, he is living in a more or less smelly house. And at the end, there's only one solution for everybody. If you are in a similar situation, everything what is made by wood, take it out. Take it out. You will never get the smell out of the wood anymore because it's there forever. There's only one solution. Take it out. Throw it away and renovate the whole house. You also have to take out the how is it called? I must check. I must check my dictionary here. The plaster, of course. You must take away, scratch the plaster from the walls as well, because water and the moist is also inside, and then you do it again. Yeah, but that is another story. That is not the story of today. So Michael was instructed by his boss to find a solution for his company, and now he It was not his wife who instructed him to find a solution at home, but he came home. He said to his wife, "Hey, darling, today my boss instructed me. I have a real big opportunity to show him that I'm a good employee and that I'm working hard and well. Perhaps I get a salary increase one day because." And she said, "What do we have to do?" And he answered, "Oh, I shall protect the whole company from the danger of floods and heavy rain." "Oh, great! So let's do it also for our own house, because I have direct access to flood protection solution providers and suppliers, and I will know about the technology. Why not using this momentum? At least the knowledge is for free." And she agreed immediately, and so they start talking about a solution for the house. But the question lingers, how much will it cost, and how can Michael afford it, and his wife? So let's look at some success stories. We visit a neighborhood where residents pooled resources to install communal flood barriers, significantly reducing individual costs. That is possible. You can have a look to see how can you cooperate with neighbors together. I know sometimes it is not that easy, but there are subdivisions in Asia and also in Europe where you can simply redirect the water to lower grounds or to farmland that is not used at the moment or whatever. So, and then the water never reaches you. That is relatively easy. You install 20 or 30 meters of these mobile flood barriers, and one very good brand is Inero from Sweden. Inero mobile flood barrier. It's very easy to install, and you can store up to 100 meters in a crate size of an office table. Incredible, really incredible. And it is reusable and declined. Why declined? Declined that when there is floating debris, it is not, and the floating debris is bumping against these barriers. They are not thrown away. They are not damaged. They still operate because it's a declined surface. So that is only one advantage. You see, I'm really convinced about it. And if you would be at our Asian headquarters in the Philippines, where we distribute and serve the market from the Middle East, from Qatar, Dubai, Abu Dhabi to South Korea, then you could visit it. We always have visitors, and they enjoy when we make this demonstration how to redirect the water, and then this water will never reach your doorsteps. And that is something what can be coordinated perhaps with neighbors together. But let's go back to Michael. He's thinking, of course, how he can operate. And one thing what he can do, it's a simple measure, is you can think about elevating electrical outlets. That will not avoid that you get flooded, but at least you will not immediately have health problems, serious problems when you step into water with electricity. That's not funny, I tell you. I will not say you most probably die, you certainly die. So that is a very serious thing, but that doesn't solve the problem. It's just a small thing what came in my mind. And of course, you can organize already your living room in a way that in case of flooding, you can bring everything to higher grounds, to the second floor, for instance. But that is not the solution. I know very well, because at the same time your flourishing garden will be flooded as well. So everything that you have spent for these nice bushes, flowers, the barbecue corner perhaps with your barbecue, and perhaps you have a swimming pool as well. So all these things will be completely damaged, and you can start from zero again. That is like I don't know, a group of buffaloes was running around in your garden. And then not to forget the garage with your car, perhaps a fancy sports car, perhaps a family car that you appreciate very much. And all the accessories like tools for the house. Every homeowner has tools. How many tools do you have? Me, I have, I think, at least 4 drilling machines, 3, 4, or even 5, I don't remember. As one with batteries and the other one's more stronger than the heavy duty ones. By the way, these ones we are using for our company when we are installing flood barriers, and we use only heavy duty, high professional stuff. Okay. Let's see how Michael can have a solution to protect his home from flooding. So the first thing, of course, establish a budget. He normally what the people are doing is they call some flood protection companies and they ask for a quotation. And then we always face a problem that we don't know the ground, we don't know the environment, we have no idea how it looks like. The only thing what we can give is a price to protect the door and perhaps the garage or window. But all the things at the left and at the right side are not included, of course, and no civil works for the foundation is included. That means this price for the barriers doesn't tell you anything, because you can buy very cheap barriers from somebody, perhaps. Let's assume they work. Most of the cheap things don't work. I'm very, very brutal by saying that. There's a lot of crap on the market, and sometimes I really get angry about it when I see that some people purchase these metal sheets, and you know already they don't work because water penetrates every single hole. It's worse than termites. And they find every hole, every entrance. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. So I live a huge part of my year in Asia. So there are a lot of termites in Southeast Asia, at least. That was foundation, of course. The barriers that don't work. I was talking about. And what you don't see are the additional costs later on, because these companies, of course, they know already your weakness, and then once you have signed the contract, they come with we have to add this and we have to add that, and that is not included, and suddenly your price doubles or triples or quadruples. Is that the right word? Quadrupled? Anyway, you know what I mean. Price times 4. And that has, of course, to be avoided. I can only warn you, please be very careful. And the thing you can do to avoid everything is really an engineering assessment or followed by a cost estimation. And that is a serious thing, because then you really know what to do. I mean, how would you build your house and construct your house? That is the same thing. You don't go to the hardware store and start purchasing things unless you know how to design and build a house. But most of us don't know, and we would completely fail with the electrical installation and the water pipes and all these kind of things, and noise reduction and energy reduction and so on and so forth. And an engineering assessment really will help you, and that is what you can use later on again. That is what companies are doing when they approach us. I just last week got an inquiry from a company in the Philippines, based in an economic zone. Of course, I don't mention the name here in this podcast, but they manufacture parts, electronic parts, and they need to find a solution to be flood protected, and everything will start with an engineering assessment, of course. It doesn't start with put me some barriers here inside this door, and then the next question is what happens with the back door. And how can you install it? And is it a fire exit door? Can this door still swing to the outer side? That is what companies very often forget. They calculate the price to protect the door, and the door opening, let's assume, is 1 meter. Then they want the price for 1 meter, and the height, let's say, is another 1 meter. And at the end, you cannot install that. It's completely stupid, because it's a fire exit door. You will never get the permission to install it, and I would never do that. Because imagine people are evacuated inside the building while there is flooding outside, and then a fire breaks out, and suddenly they want to escape, and they go to the fire exit door. They want to open it, but the door cannot open because it's blocked by the flood barriers outside. That is why you have to install a kind of U shape or C shape, that you can still swing the door to the outer side, go outside. So you need even more space that you can stay there and close the door again, because inside is fire. And that is also what the people don't understand. That means you have beams around. That is, you have a surrounding around your door, and that is at least 1 meter for the length of the door at the left side, 1 meter at the right. I highly recommend to go for 1.50 m at least, that a person can still stand there and the door can still swing. If not, you cannot swing it anymore. Once you are there, you block everything. So you need 150 and 150, that makes 3 meters plus 130 perhaps, that is 380. You need 4 meters of flood barriers compared to 1 meter before. And now you know what I meant with quadruple, because that is what some companies don't tell you. And then suddenly you have 4 times the price. And you signed already, so you have to pay the additional costs, of course. Yeah, so engineering assessment is very, very important. That will tell you all the additional costs for civil works and foundation, storage systems, and so on and so forth. And think about the flood barrier related investment as well. I mentioned it already, the foundation, the storage system, annual maintenance, annual training, spare parts availability. You don't need many spare parts depending on which flood barriers you choose, but there are some from time to time. I always say all 15 years you replace the base seal, or all 10 years, 15 years, the base seal of your flood barriers, depending on how often you are using them. Perhaps you miss some blanking bolts, some hex cons or compression clamps or things like that. Then that's called a spare part, and you need to have it quickly, immediately, because what will happen? The weather report will announce the bad weather, the heavy rain, the depression is approaching. And that's the moment you remember, oh, I have flood barriers. Oh, let's have a look, let's install them. And then you realize on a Monday morning, while the storm approaches your house, attacks your house on Wednesday, that some compression clamps are missing, and the basement rubber seal the base rubber seal is also missing. So what you can do? Your flood barriers will not work. So you call the company to supply you. So what we do in the Philippines, we always say in the area around Metro Manila, we supply these spare parts within 6 hours. When it is with airplane, or you have to take a boat to another island or something like that, we always say, okay, it's within 1 day. Depending on the flight schedules. From our side, no problem. There is stock for that. And that is very important, that people can help you out. And look, there is one thing that is also very essential. That is when you have a middle support and it is installed already, let's say in the middle of your garage, because you have a wide garage with 5 meters entrance for 2 cars. And there's a middle support. And then, you or your wife or somebody was bumping against this middle support for whatever reason. Normally, you should not drive when there is a middle support already installed. So this middle support is not working. That's what I say. And now you need a new one. And every supplier will tell you, oh, that takes some weeks because we have to manufacture it. We have to bring it to the hot dip galvanization. And then we have to ship it and so on and so forth. That takes weeks, if not months. And in this case, what we offer is, of course, we can provide immediately. There can be that there is a stock with hot dip galvanized parts. What is hot dip galvanized? That avoids that your mild steel is rusting. So that's the thing. And it's not stainless steel. So it's it just avoids that it is rusting. Let's keep it as it is. And then we provide middle supports without this hot dip galvanization. At least it will work in a way. So everything is better than nothing. That's what I say. But that is only the last exit. But these things can be done within a very, very short time. What else? What you can think to reduce the costs is think about the bank loan for house improvement. Talk to your bank. That is possible because you increase the value of your house as well. And so that is very positive. The bank should be also positive about it and give you a loan. And with a bank loan, you can pay the supplier for the flood protection solution. What else? You can think about a progress installation. Provide side channels and middle supports. I talked about middle supports before, with adjustable barrier heights. That means you go for. We have customers like that. There's one customer who protected the big car shop. I think the opening width was 10 meters or something. But there were several entrances like that. They have a car shop for 200 cars in the Philippines, so they are a reseller for cars, brand new cars, and a repair shop as well. And they wanted to go, I think, as far as I remember, for 1.50 meters. So we installed the side channels and the middle supports for 1.50 meters, but the barriers they purchased were only good for 1.20 meters. So 4 times 30 centimeters, 1.20 meters barriers, and side channels 1.50 meters. So there is one additional barrier. One additional barrier can be installed in the future. But what you need to have these clamps at the side that you can fix and compress the barriers to the ground. That means there is a small additional effort for the side channels and the middle support, but then finally you can install it. That will reduce the cost because you have not to go for 1.50 meters. And before you don't, sometimes I hear people, they say, oh, then we don't do anything. I said, why? You will get flooded, and perhaps next time there's only a small flooding. Let me say you have a water layer of 200 millimeters, 20 centimeters. If you don't have barriers, you will get totally flooded. You cannot avoid it. The water will find a way. It's even a little bit, but the little bit becomes more. That is like you take a bath in the bathtub in a hotel perhaps, and you forget to close the faucet because you fall asleep. So the water will overflow the edge of the bathtub and flood your hotel room. Definitely, and that is what 20 centimeters will also do. By the way, 20 centimeters running into a basement parking will also fill it after a while. Now, there was this example from Qatar. Recently, I reported about it in another episode. It happened on October 27, 2023, October 2023. And there was a heavy rain from 4 to 5 p.m. And this 1 hour was enough to flood a basement parking up to 4 meters. And I really can talk about it because I was in this basement parking, not when the flooding occurred, but later, some 3 weeks later. And I could see the watermarks, I could see the destroyed cars. Terrible, I can tell you, terrible. And the force of this water is incredible. So it was enough because the water was just flowing along downstairs along the ramp and filled the basement. So 20 centimeters for a house are also a lot. And if you have one barrier, it will protect you already. It will withhold the floods. And then when you have money next time, you go for the next barrier and the next until you have reached the complete height, because you anticipate already that one day climate change will not only provide you heavy rain up to 20 centimeters, but will bring rain perhaps up to 1.20 meters. And then you are lucky that you have the 1.20 meters installed. So that's the thing of progress installation. Start small, but at least you start, and you can increase the barrier height every year. Consider the damages you might have in times of climate change. That's what I said. Climate change will really make it worse. The icebergs are melting, and you cannot, and the ocean temperature is increasing. So that will provide you with more rain and more heavy storms. Call them typhoons, hurricanes, or cyclones, all the same. At the end, it will rain and flood the environment. So these damages, you can calculate it. We have developed a workbook where you can calculate the damages. If anybody's interested in that, just send me a message to our what is our info? I think info at floodcontrol.asia. or you send it directly to me, info@andreasklippe.com. It's also possible, info@andreasklippe.com. But you will find us. And then we can provide you with this workbook, and you can calculate your costs by your own. So where we are, these were the damages, exactly. So how high is the risk of being hit by flood, rain, and floods? Here the sound also sounds like it is raining inside, but there's also an electronic noise, I think. How high is the risk of being hit by heavy rain and floods in the near future? And then consider your losses. And that is what you have to relate to the investment. And as I've said already, talk to the neighbors to redirect the water from your homes if possible. That will help you a lot to reduce your investment. So this lesson is clear. Effective flood protection doesn't have to be prohibitively expensive. With a little bit creativity, community effort, and the right information, safeguarding your home can be both achievable and affordable. And that is what Michael has learned. And from his company, when his boss gave him the task, protect the company, and now he's talking to his wife, and I'm quite sure they will talk to the bank first, ask for a bank loan, and then perhaps they will go for, I don't know, they haven't decided yet to go for 1.20 meter, 1.50 meter protection height. Then they are safe for the next 50 years, perhaps. Nobody knows what the world will do and what the climate will do and the weather will do. But at least he is thinking already about to provide a flood protection to his son and his daughter, who will take over this house one day. And then at least there's a flood protection that is working and that is prepared for this rainfall in 50 years, not only now. So it's a one-time investment, and perhaps even in 100 years, because the flood barriers will work during 100 years with a good maintenance. So with creativity, I said already, then you can achieve your target and protect your home from floods. It doesn't have to rain to drain your savings. With the right approach and information, effective and affordable solutions are within reach. That's a good thing. And now comes my golden nugget for you at the end of this episode, Flood Protection Secrets. Remember, the true cost of flood protection is not just measured in dollars. It's measured in the peace of mind and safety it brings to you and your family. So it's measured in the peace of mind and safety it brings to you and your family. Thank you for joining me on this journey to securing the home of Michael against floods, and I hope that could also help you if you think to protect your home. And if you found this episode helpful, stay tuned and subscribe to the podcast Flood Protection Secrets if you haven't already, for more tips, tricks and hacks in flood protection. Stay safe and flood free. I wish and hope for you that you make the right decisions when it comes to your personal flood protection. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to this podcast channel if you haven't already. Now it only remains for me to wish you a good day. Do something with it. Maybe until the next podcast episode. I would be very happy. See you then. As always, stay safe and flood free. Your Andreas Klippe and the whole Flood Experts team.
That's it again with the new episode of Flood Protection Secrets, the podcast by Dr. Flood Andreas Klippe, German engineer, book author, and head of the Flood Experts. What can Dr. Flood Andreas Klippe protect for you? Anytime? Worldwide? Contact us or just click through to www.thefloodexperts.de/bonus. Detailed engineering, German quality, safe. Flood protection secrets, the secrets you'll want to unfold.
Don't forget, you're only one flood barrier away.
Subscribe to the season, and you'll never be late for an episode.